and welcome to my next episode of Unwritten, which is the Dear Future Self podcast. And the Dear Future podcast is all about healing, growth, and rewriting that story. Today, I have an amazing guest who is going to really give you some insight into his life journey and the amazing work that he does. So his name is Kevin Kelly. He is the founder of Calming Solutions, which is a counseling service that works with individuals who are experiencing anxiety, depression, and going through those life challenges that are very difficult for them to overcome. So welcome, Kevin. How are you doing today?
Very well, Victoria, and thank you for having me. Yeah, it's quite an honor for you to invite me onto this, and yeah, definitely. Can I
Good.
just say it's Calm Solutions Therapy? So if you look it up, it is Calm Solutions Therapy, one word.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that. So, Kevin, talk to me. Who were you before you started healing, and who do you feel that you have become today?
I think my story goes back years. I think growing up in the 80s, um, and the racism was a thing. So being a boy of my color in school, um, yeah, the naughty boy is what I used to always be called, and going through that, and I think it's only recently through my own therapy did I start to understand a 6 year old can't be naughty. A 6 year old ain't doing this because he wants to. A 6 year old doesn't know. And I think when you're told that systematically keep on, that's reaffirmed in your head as you grow, that's the persona you take on. Um, so yeah, I think in a short synopsis, childhood was always told me that I was never good enough. So you get to teens, you're still not good enough. You're picked on by the police, picked on by your teachers. You, I ended up turning to crime. So I think a lot of my years were crime based, as it were. Growing up and seeing people have nice things and told you you're not allowed to have that. That's
Mm.
for them. It's not for you. Yeah. So I think there's a lot of kids, a lot of young people that definitely would understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then through academia, I managed to take myself there. I left school. I was kicked out of school at 13, so I had no grades whatsoever. But I took myself to university, took myself to college, and became a therapist. So I think the important thing for me, Victoria, is as a youngster, especially as a young boy of color, or a young boy from a socio-economical background where it's not wealthy, it's not. You're told unless you can sing, dance, rap, play football, or sports, you can't amount to nothing. And I think that's such a toxic, negative saying to say to people because
Mm.
I just ain't got that talent. But everyone can learn. We learn
Yeah.
at different pace. We learn different ways. So for me, it's really important to try and get that story out there to say, regardless of what's happened to you and the system's being
Mm.
down, doesn't want you to achieve, you can achieve. I think people
Yeah.
look at this and be this is a wrong thing to say, but as a drug dealer, you run your own business. You look after maths, you look after everything you need to look after to make sure that you're providing. So how can you sit there and say that a young person is doing that cannot run a successful business or work in a business of another field? He can, and all the skills are transferable. Um,
Mm.
but yeah, I think in a
Yeah.
snap, say that was it. But more than happy
Yeah.
to.
Yeah, you know what? I love your story so much because, it is about rewriting that story. And I think, growing up in the UK, as you mentioned, with all the challenges that young people are facing nowadays, especially young Black boys, that message that they keep getting told, things that they see around them, society, they go into the school system and then like you said, they're told that they can't achieve, or there's that expectation that they're only going to become, rappers, athletes, and there's so much more to them, And
Yeah.
I think what I like about you, what I like about you in terms of what you've done, you've been able to rewrite that story, and so I feel that you're such a big inspiration to young Black boys growing up in the inner city areas that are coming from places, coming from a background where they feel that they can't, they can't achieve, or they can't amount to anything. So what would you say to that young person that may be watching this podcast, in terms of them being able to, you know, rewrite their story, them being able to change that narrative in their mindset? What would you say to them?
I'd say it's not easy. And yeah, it's when you're told something continuously, and it's like it's little things that, I've got lots of white friends from influential backgrounds, and racism doesn't exist. And it's like, if
Mm,
maybe it's the ignorance. If me and you both turn up to school 10 times late, I'll get detention, but you'll be told, listen, Timothy, don't turn up late next week. When you're told that as a youngster, it's difficult. I'm not going to sit here and pretend
yeah,
in China just not being hard. I went from here and doing more and enjoying my life as it were. And I had to strip myself back, like bare
yeah,
bones, earn rubbish money, and go back to where I should have been as a 16, 17, 18-year-old, effectively, because I missed all of that. I wasn't
yeah,
giving up all of that. I think the
yeah.
message then says it's not going to be easy. It's
Mm,
it's it's not like that. It's not instant.
yeah. And
We'll have to
and
keep doing it. Yeah, and just
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, no, definitely. It's like going back to basics, really, isn't it? I can mirror aspects of your story with my story in a way, in terms of, yeah, growing up in the inner cities, getting into trouble, and then, having that realization that, something needs to change. I want more for my life. What can I offer society that's valuable, and make a difference, not only, in the world, but also do something different for myself, something that's going to benefit me, that's going to benefit my family, and so forth. So, Kevin, what was the moment you realized something had to change mentally, emotionally, and spiritually? What was that defining moment for you? When did that come?
I think being a single father when a kid's mum left, I think I sat there. I had a stepfather. My stepfather had a hard life. He was a stepchild
Mm,
himself. He was raised by his dad, and I think he just took that as that's the way to be. So he beat me and my older brother quite a bit. When I had my children, and then I became a single parent. Well, when I had fully fractures, I didn't want my children to be raised by anyone else. So I fight for
mm,
managed to get them.
yes.
And then at the point there, I knew I had to change my life around. I knew what I was doing, I couldn't really continue to do. But at the same time, being a single father of three young boys, I haven't got the time to sit there and go and study, and I need to earn money and what have you not. So, but that was the changing point for me, is looking at my young boys and saying, I don't want them to grow up like me. I don't want them to have the lifestyle I've had. I think back in the day, I'd say I didn't choose it. This was what was made of me. I think doing the work of myself, we all have a choice.
Yeah.
Um, and as a young person, I'm going to sit and say some for white boys in urban areas as well. It's just as difficult nowadays. I think they're going to find it just as hard. You have to be better
Yeah.
than than the boys and the girls that come from that. I
Yeah.
think they're going to get the choices and the chances
Yeah.
that get, and the same mentality that you've got when you're on the street, because I don't care, I'm not scared. You've got to use that same mentality to achieve in a different. It's what it is. It's flipping. It's reframing things.
Yeah.
It's sitting there saying, well, because if you're committing crime and you're just selling drugs and you're robbing, whatever you're doing, there's a skill involved in that. As much as people are going to hate me
It's
saying
true. Yes.
it, and you can change that skill is going to be
Yeah.
usable in something else. You may not know what that is at that point. I didn't know what it was,
Yeah.
and selling drugs, you've got the gift of the gab. You know how to sell. Exactly. Sometimes, so I think it's having the support and help out there. I think when I was working at the CMH school, the head said to me, she's like, there's always one teacher in your life that's done something positive. And I'm sitting there thinking, what are you talking about? And then I scratched back and it was my primary school teacher, Mr. Braden. And I think he
Yeah.
was the person that that allowed me to be me.
Mm,
And then when he left, it was such a huge breakdown for me that I never recognized.
mm,
30 years later, listen, I recognize it. So I think it's important for there to be people like that that can help these young people sit there, and they've got to want to change, but
yeah,
they need to help them be able to change. It's so difficult to sit and say, I want to change, but you don't know how. I didn't know how. It's like,
yeah,
how do you do this? I think I watched
yeah.
that ad Open University, and it's like, I
Mm,
don't need a GCSE, because you're always told you need a GCSE. You're
mm,
always told. So I'm like, you've been lying to me all this time that I needed a GCSE and I needed this, and I phoned up Open University, and they're like, no, they're like, you can join straight away. We'd advise you to do an access course just so
yeah,
you can make you're ready for it. So it's like, okay, I did the access course, done the access course, and then that was it. The journey kind of started.
yeah,
Yeah, and then you move. Once you
yeah,
start to
yeah,
get love, I am worth it. I
yeah.
am good. I can do this. I don't have to be there. I don't have to be in that.
Mm,
Your life starts opening up, and
mm,
I don't earn the money like I used to earn, but I don't look over my shoulder anymore. I don't worry about the door.
yeah,
I ain't no certain things there. When you're in it, it doesn't
yeah,
bother you. And
yeah.
now people sit and they listen to these kids. I don't care. I do 20 years. I do this. I do that. They're not lying. Like that's how they feel at that moment, because
Mm,
the upshot to life otherwise ain't great.
yeah,
Like it's like when you're left with hardly nothing and you're told that's all you can have, you look out and you see more. That shows you the mentality of these young people, that
yeah,
they want to eat because they're doing what they're doing
yeah,
to try to achieve.
yeah,
Imagine if we can flip that. Imagine how society would be. Imagine
yeah.
how. So for me, yeah, and I can go on a bit, Victoria. So.
Yeah. No, that's why we're here. That's why we're here. Don't even think about it. You said a few things, and I think what I liked about what you said earlier on, you talked about, whether living a criminal life or, doing things that you're not supposed to do. There's a skill to that, and you're right, because you have to have that mindset, that determination, and in the same way, that mindset that you've got for, or a person may have in terms of robbing or whatever it may be, stealing, or, you know, it's still a focus, isn't it? It's still a focus of, trying to get something, that determination, that motivation. And so, what you said earlier on in terms of flipping it and using that energy to do something positive with your life, it's the same thing. But again, as you said, it is about having a different mindset and, you know, thinking about, well, do I want somebody? Do I really want to be looking out over my shoulder all the time? Do I, not only for police, but also, people
Yeah,
coming after you, and it's stressful. It's
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 it,
stre- it's it's stressful, thinking about all of those things. So for me, I think about, why not have that peace? Why not have that peace in your heart, in your mind? You can walk down the street free and easy, but also there's a feeling that you get when you're doing something that you love. Do you understand? When you're doing something that you love and
mm,
you're helping, whether you're helping humanity or you're just doing things the right way, whether it's you get
yeah.
a job, whether it's you're starting a business, you're just doing things the right way. And there's a different feeling. There's a different
There really
feeling
is.
tone to that.
And I think, and the problem is, Victoria, is just they want to do that. I don't think half these kids, it's like
Yeah,
half young people, it's not like they want to live the life they want to live.
yeah,
They want to have nice things, and they're told
yeah,
they can't have things.
yeah.
So you're told as a child, you can't, you ain't, you ain't.
Mm,
You have that autonomy. That's gonna be such a barrier. So it's gonna be like, well, I can do whatever I want to do. You told me I can't do because I can't do it this way. I'm gonna do it that way.
yeah,
It's so hard. I know I sit here saying this because I've managed to take myself to a place where I am now. And then they'll
yeah.
be looking at me just like how you looked at people back in the day and like, you don't know what you're talking about. Like you're not living my life. You don't know what it's like on the street.
Mm, mm,
And I don't. When I was younger, the police had to prove where your money come from. When
mm.
they changed that law, now you've got to prove where your money come from. I flipped the whole script. Like you can't earn nothing, can have anything about the fear that had been taken away from me. I was like,
Yeah,
that's not nice.
yeah. No,
It's different.
definitely.
I don't want to sit here and try to pretend to these young people that it's easy, because it ain't. It's not
Yeah.
easy. As you said, that
It takes work, doesn't it?
like, it takes a lot of work. And when you
Yeah.
live that, you're so brave to live that life. As people say, how's it brave? Because every day you walk out, you're worried about. And this day and age, these kids, they're trying to kill each other. Back in my day, you may want to beat someone up, you may want to stab someone, but you're not actively trying to take a life.
Mm,
This day and age, they don't want to. So imagine that sort of life where you're coming out of your house, and to make money, you got to make crime, and that's you got, which is the biggest gang in the world, and you've
yeah.
got your own little gangs around the area that are on you. That's a hard life. That's a hard
Yeah.
life, but
Yeah.
it can be changed.
Yeah.
And if podcast allows how to be able to one person to change, be a happy man. How do we do it? I wish I had a silver bullet for days like this, but it
Yeah.
is hard work. It's hard work, support. It's having more people to be able to help people, guide them,
Mm,
even if that's by watching a podcast like this and seeing other people come from different types of strains, and
mm,
becoming, and looking at them and saying, okay, I may not dress how you dress now, but you
yeah.
look like, and like I can see that, I can hear it in your voice, a little twang, So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm passionate about this. And
Yeah. You and me both. You and me both. I do a lot of work with young people and but anyway, it's not about me. But one of the things that you said earlier on in terms of, that street life and, walking out and wondering whether you're going to get stabbed or something, I think in my time, like you said, people just wanted, if there was any kind of beef, it was, it was just a fight or something. And in my time, people just wanted, if there was an issue, it was a knuckle fight. But
mm,
now people want to unalive you. Like it's instant. It's not even, they don't even think about that. And I tell you what I've been seeing recently, this is in America, where I've seen a couple of young people who have probably been living a life of crime and whatever, and then, been caught, have done something, murdered somebody, and have gone to court and have been given a life sentence, and they break down and cry.
mm,
Like it's and so, they're not thinking about the consequences of, the type of lifestyle that they're living
yeah,
until their back is against the wall and they're caught and they're being sentenced. And I can guarantee you all that hardness that they had on street, that goes away instantly when they get into the prison system, because it's a different ball game in there. Everybody wants to, from what I've seen anyway, everybody's just, the entertainment in the prison system is fighting. I mean, the
mm,
prison system, that's a whole new conversation in terms of, society and the structure and all of that. I don't want to go into too much of that today, but we know, what it's like. I know what it's like as
yeah,
well. So
yeah.
so Kevin, what has healing taught you about love, self-worth, and forgiveness? What has healing taught you about
I think
self-love, self-worth, and forgiveness?
I'm still in therapy. I have a good relationship with my therapist, and I continue journey. And I think I remember when I first started therapy, and it was for my course, and I was like, I don't need this. I'm just doing this because I have to do it to pass my course. And then I remember my therapist not laughing, but sitting there and like, okay, give me that rice. They were smiling, and when I
Yeah.
finished, she's like, I'm like, nah. It's nice to be able to sit there and speak to someone.
Yeah.
The way I think of it is when I'm speaking to my therapist, I don't need to worry about what I'm telling my therapist, because I know
Mm,
my therapist is having therapy. So I know that if it's too heavy for my therapist, she's having that support to help her move on. And I think that's what it is. It's like I need to say it's down in my big toe, all my issues. I think for a lot of people, stuff mostly won't come up for the like as a therapist, hearing other people's traumatic life stories, situations,
yeah.
not learning about myself and my own blind spots. Is there going to be that transfer? So I'm always trying to bring up anything that when someone says something, if it takes me back like this, and like I haven't dealt with that. Where is that?
Mm,
For my own healing, it's it's made my relationship with my mother really, really strong. I went through a period where I think my relationship with my mum was really bad. It was terrible with my father, but
Yeah.
with my mum, it was really bad. I put my mum through a lot of stuff, I think. My mum was invited to the CID Christmas party once. That's how bad me and my Cody used to be
Oh
back in the
my
day.
gosh. Wow.
Yeah, so we was that prolific into street
Yeah.
robberies like that. So I put my mum through so much. And through my own therapy and my own healing was to sit there and acknowledge that and sit there and I guess strip it back. Why was I the way I was? I still haven't got there yet. Um,
Mm.
just too simplistic just to blame other people. And
Yeah.
this, I think the system definitely had a lot to play with it. My mum was
Yeah.
told that there's no more schools for your son. Just keep him out at
Mm.
home so he's not out and about. I done YT centers when I was kicked out of them. I was 14 years old and I was told that you ain't doing nothing about it. No, it's as a 14-year-old. Everyone else is at school and the only people that ain't at school are the kids that are like you.
Yeah.
So you start to hang and you're doing bad things because
Yeah.
bad things. And I think as I go through and I look at the healing of it, what did we all have in common? We all had Jamaican fathers that beat us quite a lot. And that's no disrespect to the fact that I think they grew up in Jamaica where they was
Yeah.
beating them. It's like they come over here. That's what I learned. This is what I do. But then when you're getting beaten by a grown man from like 5, 6 years old, shit don't hurt now. So stuff don't hurt no more. Like you don't feel pain like you used to.
Mm.
But your emotions are, if I'm playing with my older brother upstairs and we're making noise, we're having fun, but I'm getting beaten. So a happy emotion results in violence. So if I'm bad at school and I've been told off and I'm sad, I'm getting beaten. So a bad emotion results in violence. So what am I learning as a child? Every emotion is violence. So what am I taking out to the street? Violence. So I start to understand that. And you start to unpick that. And you start to understand yourself. And then
Yeah.
you can start to give yourself a bit because I was only a child.
That's right.
And there's I would sit and say, I don't blame myself. I don't blame myself. But deep down, I did. Deep down, I think, and you look at the guest holding chair and you look at yourself on the chair and like you speak to yourself as if, what would I say to a 6-year-old Kevin?
Mm.
I'm writing a book at the moment and I'm kind of going through it myself. So I'm actually doing
Yeah.
even more through that. And I think the healing is recognizing my past, trying to understand my past, forgiving myself, and trying to not blame others, but also understanding that there was a reason for it. You know,
Yeah.
and then how do we affect change? Who
Yeah.
am I changing for? If I don't change, who does that affect? I think the biggest story I tell young people, I work with a great company, Rise and Bamboo Projects, with children that are subject to domestic abuse.
Mm.
How how does their behavior, how is their behavior in school? Well, all they see is violence. So some of them violent. So you sit there, you look at all they're withdrawn. They don't want to have relationships, positive. They don't know what a positive relationships is. So they pull
Mm.
back. And it's when you sit there and you try to do the work of them and try to get them to understand that you're only ever affecting yourself. And that's the thing. That teacher doesn't really care about you to that extent. That teacher's got 100 kids they're mostly seen a week.
Right.
Like really paying that much attention to what you're doing. But for you,
Yeah.
that's you. That teacher hates you, but you're just affecting yourself. So I think the thing that I would sit there when you asked me the question earlier, what would I tell the younger Peters? Just remember all your actions only affect you.
Yeah.
And you flip that and understand that and I truly understand it. And I'm understanding it as I continue to go through. I'm a big man now. So the
Yeah.
fact that I'm willing to try and tell the child to that. But yeah, I
I
think that
like
that
that.
is understanding what I do
Yeah.
affects me. Sometimes it affects others, but it always affects me.
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. Amazing. Good. So, Kevin, just before we tie up things, what would you thank your future self for in the next 5 years?
Being vulnerable, allowing myself to be vulnerable. And
Mm.
I'd say that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Myself to cry, allow myself to love, allow myself to forgive, to understand. I think all those things there, and I think it all comes underneath being vulnerable, especially as a man.
Yeah.
Um, you're not supposed to be. You know, you're brought up. Don't do that. Uh, I'd say, yeah. I'd thank myself for allowing myself to be vulnerable.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that. I love that. That's so beautiful. And we're going to wrap up now. And, Kevin, look, where can people get hold of you? Tell us, where can people reach out to you if they wanted to work with you or they need any form of counseling? Are you on any social media links, your website? Tell us, where can people reach out to you?
I'm not on social media. My children always telling me I should do something, but
You need to get on.
Calming Solutions Therapy, so spelled CALMING Solutions, SOLUTIONS Therapy. Um, my email is Carmen Solutions Therapy at proton.me. You can reach out to me there. Yeah, as I say, my day work is Project Bamboo, with Rise Transforming Lives. And if you are suffering from domestic abuse, you can refer your children to it. There are parts for adults there as well. But personally, it would be Carmen Solutions Therapy. I am on Google. If you type it in Google, you can find me.
Um,
And I have it on phone number there. So I am easily reachable.
yeah.
Hopefully, you have me back when I've written my book, and maybe I'll be on some social media by then, and then it'll be easier. But for now,
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, thank you so much. This session, this episode, I think is so powerful. It's so powerful. And look, today, as I've said, we've had the amazing Kevin Kelly who's talked about his own life experiences, how healing and growth and rewriting the story has led him to the place where he is now helping other people. He's got his own therapy, counseling services that he offers. So thank you for watching today. If you liked this episode, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification button. Thank you, and bye bye.